Good day everyone, I am Patrick. We have addressed the issue of players. Today we launch the game with the risks involved, some of them pretty tricky. Risks in the 70s, most of non-life policies did cover tangible assets against named perils. Mutualizations and long-lasting statistics were used to fix a price for each type of risk. Each line of business was supposed to stand on its own merits. Control of accumulation was easy, as losses due to one event did affect one or two lines of business and only a single market, besides storms being the cross-border peril. Individual peak risks and cat ones were not as challenging for reinsurers as today. Today, risks are increasingly connected and interdependent. Losses due to one cause may affect all lines of business across the world. COVID-19, cyber, terror, political violences, NatCat impacting CBI, supply chains, maybe other examples. Mutualization and long-lasting statistics do not apply for insurers' peak risk. An assessment of accumulation is difficult, hence potential shortage of capacity. Asset values of S&P 500 companies in 1975, 83% were tangible assets, property. In 2015, only 16%. Different insurance products are needed to cover new risk on intangible assets. Climate change, once a controversial topic, today a trauma. Cat events happen stronger and more frequent. Secondary perils, floods, wildfire, did cost about 60% of the cat-insured losses of the 3 last years. Source Swiss Re. Risk appetite decreased from insurance and more recently from reinsurance companies. Reduce the volatility of the book of business is the motto, especially for cat property. Every risk carrier tries to meet the return requirements from the financial investors, which leads sometimes to drastic moves. Quick overview of some of these evolutions by lines of business. To start with property, in 1975, most risks covered by non-life insurance were material damages. The main peril insured was fire. Business interruption, BI, was rarely insured, even less contingent BI. Today, main peril for property retail business is water damage. Main peril for property industrial risk is BI, CBI, rather than the direct damage. Note that the growing demand for a non-damage related BI cover has moved after COVID-19. Natural disaster property. 1975, two main types of perils, wind and earthquake. Others, like wildfire, volcanic eruptions, were wrongly nicknamed secondary perils. Floods, sea surge, drought, subsidence claims were covered in some markets, considered in many others as uninsurable. Today, flood is part of the main perils. In some markets, insurance companies design the extent of their reinsurance cover according to the flood disaster scenario. Flood is increasingly insured over the world with different solutions, which may involve also private-public partnership. Germany suffered in 2021 with Bernd an insured loss topping €10 billion, although less than half of the inhabitants were insured. In the 70s, Dr. Preuss, CEO Bavarian Re, declared that every time after a flood, talks took place among the industry and politicians about how to cope with this risk. But after a few weeks, calming down, nothing was done. After Bernd, the issue has been reopened. For how long? Wildfire happening yearly from US to Australia through Brazil or Portugal cannot be considered as a secondary peril anymore. Drought causing agro, subsidence and wildfire claims, not to mention life, has become another recurring challenge for our industry. Verisk estimates the global average annual cat losses $123.3 billion today, against $99.6 billion in 2020. The 1 in 100 years event, $345 billion today, against $301 billion in 2020. Roughly the same amount as the estimated worldwide reinsurance premium. Man-made natural disasters. In the 70s, property insurance wordings, depending on markets, covered named perils or all risks, whereby the all risk type gradually prevailed, including strike, riots, civil commotions, and malicious damage in the covers. Nobody had expected the riot losses that occurred during the Arab Spring or in US following the dramatic death of George Floyd, in South Africa following the imprisonment of the former president, in France and Chile following an increase of prices. Where tomorrow? This type of risk can happen everywhere, cause heavy losses, spread to many countries. I doubt that there is a specific proper price premium related to the risk. Terror and PV. In 1975, the risk is already known following the dramatic assassinations of Israeli athletes at the 1972 Olympic Games in Munich. Today, it has become a daily feature of our lives, with immense potential of losses and victims, as September 11 has tragically revealed. Motor. In 1975, this line of business, growing along with the number of cars over the world, was the number one non-life branch in most markets. Today, improved claims frequency and stagnation of populations in the mature markets has limited that growth, reducing the weight of this line of business within the total non-life premium volume. Tomorrow, the development of autonomous electric car will strengthen that relative trend downward and impose radical changes of our industry. Casualty. 1975 GTPL and professional liabilities are not much developed over the world besides US. Today, it remains the case in emerging markets, but liability lines have grown faster than property, diversifying with new types of products like environmental liability, products liability, D&O, medical malpractice. Tomorrow, this trend up shall continue. Challenges. The long-tail character of this line, the social inflation, the growing trend to go to court are a few of the challenges for risk carriers. Clients' demand for cover and expertise, advice increase. Other lines of business. our industry could meet with expectations of new industries, aquaculture, space. Today, cyber risk is a major challenge with all the uncertainties about accumulation scenarios on top of claims frequency and increased average claims cost. It is not an emerging risk, but an exploding one. It is a line of business by itself with property and liability covers, terror, ransomware. In 2017, a CAT cyber risk scenario was estimated at $31 billion with only $2 billion insured. Both figures have grown since. The gap remains huge. The demand for cover increases dramatically with the awareness of the risk. Prices have gone up, but not at the same pace as claims. Players, many reduce the cover and size of their commitments. Others want to take advantage of a market opportunity, increased demand, and hardening conditions. Tomorrow, cyber insurance premium, about $10 billion in 2021, should raise to $20 billion in 2025. It may reach the size of property premium by 2040, according to Swiss Re. Potential market loss scenario from a single major cyber attack, £40.7 billion. Challenge to face it. Work on risk prevention, claims mitigation. Look for alternative solutions, ILS on top of traditional reinsurance market. Study private-public deals to make it insurable. Corporate companies able to find sufficient solutions, capacity on the market may create new mutuals, as recently MIRIS Re, founded by 7 European industrial groups, as we have seen in the 80s with the US casualty crisis.